Well, excuse my panting, because where I live is probably the equivalent of whitewater rafting in terrain, in that it's up and down, up and down, up and down, very steeply. Anyway, I've dragged myself out on a Saturday, and I don't normally do this, but it's cooler, and I figure it's the last gasp of the end of summer before it turns autumn, and also people are going to be away because it's bank holiday weekend, and also the temperature's perfect for me, almost. It's about 14 degrees now, and there is my woodland temple, which is slightly too warm for me, but it's going to get warmer. Anyway, it's early, as you probably guessed. So I'm just going to go, and I was going to test out a gimbal, but I just couldn't be asked to carry much more. But my plan is to do this, because I did one at the start of lockdown, which would have been March, beginning of April. I did one down here, and I thought I'd do one in autumn because, you know, it's a tree-lined valley. And I thought, well, why not do one now, because I haven't done one in full lush green leaf. So in order to mix it up a bit, we're going to go the other way round. We're going to go anti-clockwise this time. So let's get going. I nearly went the wrong way. Wow, it looks like this was where the water was running down the hill and off the main road. But as I've said before, and as I say to many people who comment or comment here or on my posts or anything, this place is just teeming with water, the whole area. I mean, in my village alone, I have 11 springs. So this way's heading towards what is called Stony Bridge. It might be called the Stone Bridge, but I think it's Stony Bridge. It's amazing, isn't it? Some people love the summer and the heat, but me, I can't even describe the difference between how I feel now and how I was feeling 2 weeks ago. It's like another world. I feel so much better now it's cooler. We are talking, you know, over half as cool. in you know, gone from 6 days of 34 down to 16 later. That's a big difference. But it really affects my mind when it's too hot, because I can't do anything, I can't move. The heat wears me out, and I'm quite active. Anyway, it feels nice to be out. Sorry for those of you who can't get out, but this is all part of my service. I was kind of thinking of maybe doing a live one day, but you need to have lots of subscribers to do that. I think you need 1,000 subscribers to even be able to do that. So what I try and do is I try and stop and show you interesting things. And this is just, there is something really magical about coppiced hazel, and it's weird. I don't like it, but I don't like it in the sense that I know what's caused it, and what's caused it is human intervention in order to subjugate the tree, really. I know I talk about it a lot, but it's a big practice here. All these trees that you can see, they've all been coppiced. And here's why. And I know I show this a lot as well, but some people haven't seen this. So if you're new here, that large stump and the way that's leant that way, you can also imagine that there would have been others leaning the other way, and that would just rip the heart of that apart and cause its death eventually. And you see some of these, they're quite old. So what you do is you cut it to a couple of inches tall. Oh, nice bit of fungus. So I try and get to show bits of the scenery, you know, stop and focus on what I think other people would want to see, because I can get to see it in my own time. And this comes through here. And joins that bit of the brook, which then goes under the stone bridge. I know. Do you think it might be a trans bridge? Well, it used to be stone and now it's changed to wood. Okay, so I'll give you a quick lesson in tracking. Some of you will know this. Now, dog footprints and cat footprints are very similar, but dog footprints will have a claw mark, whereas cat footprints will occasionally have a claw mark, and that's how you tell the difference. So that's it's interesting what you do when you come a different way, because last time I came here I didn't come and see this tree. And actually it's still Stonebridge. You can see where it comes from there and meets that one. That kind of really illustrates well what I mean about the water around here. He says about to cross the boggy the boggy strip. Now if I remember rightly, this was wet and probably wetter, so we'll go via the oak and go up here. Nice to see some young oaks here. There's the path we would have come on, but this has clearly been made by people who thought, no, let's not walk across the boggy bit. Probably quite wisely actually, because if you've never fallen in a bog, then you haven't lived. Which probably brings me neatly to my bog story. A story of ridiculousness. Let's carry on. See all this young growth in here. This is all hazel that's been coppiced. I mean, what happens is it gets cut every so many years. Now this varies. I remember checking out the times, you know, for like creating a wood, and some of the times didn't seem to fit. When you put them against each other, the times you cut and the spaces you left didn't really fit the theory. Anyway, I assumed I hadn't understood it properly, but I think you just use common sense, and actually nature does a lot of the work for you. Now, here's where we came down, and there was a lovely oak. Yeah, there it is. Now I could take that path up there, but I don't want to, because I want to go back, you know, reversing the direction. There she is. Suddenly, this camera's not reacting to the light today for some reason. It's making it appear more grey when it's actually blue. Oh, come on. Let's have a quick look over here. Oh, I see. Some steps up to the track. Oh, this is like... Oh, I see. Oh, this is... Does anyone know that song? Oh, I see. Now, I don't really want to go that way, because we've got to head up there. But hang on. Shall we? Okay. If I regret this, then I can blame you. Do you know what? Actually, it might be alright, because I'm sure at some point it must meet a path that comes from the left. But it may not. Well, I think my autumn walk is going to take us that way. But I was right, and very close. Not far up the hill was the path that I had a look down. So let's go this way. It's nice that not actually doing the same route, isn't it? I'm happy with that. Now you may notice my eyes darting left and right. I've spotted badger signs, but maybe not. Ooh. But that's how I keep an eye out for anything, because I don't know if I'm allowed to be in here. I mean, I feel I am. Lady Beach, Queen of the Hill. Well, ideally when I come out I don't like to be carrying anything, but when you go out filming you need various things, because that day you don't bring that bit of equipment is the day you need that. Excuse my sweatiness. This is really heavy, because not only do I have a little bit of equipment, but I've got a flask in there as well. Handy tip, bring a flask. It may be worth it. I mean, it gets lighter as you go, you know. I know they're all young, but I'd rather have young trees than no trees. So, about this bog story. Well, this is a real example of Sagittarius in action. So every sign has its opposite effect. So whatever sign you are, you have bits of the opposite sign in you. So this kind of applies to Sagittarians and Geminis, whether it's your rising sign or your sun sign. It's not your moon sign, that comes out when you're drunk or otherwise inebriated. So this one particular day, I was in Wales. We were staying with when my son was young, and we were staying in the mountains at the end of this valley. It was gorgeous, surrounded by crystals. Yeah, it was just lovely. Anyway, so one day we decided to go and walk up the mountain at the back of the house. So off we went. I probably started off a nice gentle slope like that, and ended up getting quite steep and going on for, you know, thousands of feet. Anyway, it took quite a while. I think it took 3 or 4 hours. And then we came to a point where there was a bit of a plateau, and there was either a long way round or swim through the bog. Well, I looked in the bog, and I mean, by this time I was wiped. I needed food and drink, and I hadn't brought anything with me. That's how unprepared I was when I was younger. Oh wow, look at that. Obviously you can't, but we'll get a better shot. It starts off there, but look, fuses there, and up a bit more it fuses. That's a hornbeam. Because if you look at the leaves, they're slightly pointed at the end, similar to beech but different. So I looked in this bog and I saw there was some stones, and I thought to myself, but one of the stones was a bit of a leap out. You know, you couldn't do it by just taking a big step for mankind. You had to take a bit of the leap. And in my thin-haired brain, I thought, well, that's okay. I just put my foot in the bog, and if I do it quickly, I thought I could walk on water. I'll do it quickly and then I'm on the stone. Of course, I started to put my foot in, and before I'd put all my weight on it, it was over my wellies and filling up my right leg with boggy water. That was so close. Just I hadn't thought, I wasn't thinking. So sometimes just think before you do stuff. And other times it's fine to just be instinctive, isn't it? But if you've got any kind of Sagittarius Gemini thing going on, doubly think. because I'm the sort of person that will take a hot dish out of the oven with oven gloves, put it down on the side, take off the oven gloves, and then go and move it with my bare hands. Because I don't have human hands, I have bare hands. No, I mean the different spelling, obviously. So, blisters on your fingers, not so good. The other story may have to wait. Look. Badger digging for something, or a little foxhole? That's a question. I'm not answering that because I don't know. It does have a nice feel, this. I think in the autumn what we'll do is we'll come down this way, so we'll come the opposite way, because I think that view with the sun behind us, it's going to really highlight all the leaves, and we should get some good colours, providing I time it right. After hassling a photographer friend of mine last week, nagging them, I've nagged them a few times now, because I've seen her kneeling on concrete, kneeling on floors for long periods taking photographs. So I've been sending her messages saying, take knee pads, get knee pads, get knee pads. And eventually I've persuaded her, but what have I done today? I've come out without any. I just went to kneel, because look at this, just wet, it's wet. So you kneel down, you get wet knees, and eventually you get a wet, soggy, rotten knee. So there's a tip for anyone who does any kind of filming or stuff outside where you kneel down, get knee pads. Honestly, they have saved my knees. I know people who've stopped gardening because their knees are fucked. And I've worn knee pads every day that I've worked for 25 years, and I'm still going up hills like this. Hello dear. That's muntjac, isn't it? Because it's so small. Now I'm guessing this is a little hide to watch the deer, because that's what these are. They aren't created by kids mucking about. I mean, some are, but one that's good is generally not. They're here to watch, sit and watch for wildlife coming through. Now I was looking for shotgun cartridges, but there aren't any, so that's good. But I will check. No, I can't see any. But for those of you who are thinking that's horrible, because of what man has done, we don't have predators for various things. So unless we hurry up and get wolves and bears back in here, we have to do it, because deer will go round and destroy certain types of trees. Acers they particularly love, and they also like beech as well. I love the way birch bark goes, like all shiny and white in some places, and then rough and rugged like that. Oh, look, a serpentine bit of old man's beard there. Now, can you see that? There's an obvious one. See what this is, and you'll see one in my Mother Anthony's Well video. You'll see one. There's another. There's a few posts. See, this used to be a pheasant rearing cage a long time ago, because that's what this area is. So if you go to like local colleges that deal with land-based work, quite a lot of what their skills are, their environmental things, is about pheasants, pheasant shooting, because there are loads around here. Near one of the gardens I work in, they were telling me that the amount of pheasants the local pheasant place has is ridiculous. I mean, people think fox hunting is bad, but with pheasants, they rear thousands and thousands and thousands, make them fat, and then they get these rich people, men usually, to come and shoot them. And they don't really eat them. You know, you can, if you know certain people, you come home and you find there's a couple of pheasants hanging on your door, because they're not worth anything. They don't sell them because there's so many. Yeah, it's bad. So, do you want to come out in the light for a bit? Well, you stay there then if you don't. Oh, look at those over there. I'll try and zoom in to that. See the white? Now, I'm guessing they're willows. They're either willows or poplars, aren't they? One thing that makes me a little bit wary about walking around here in various places is that locally there are lots of famous, well-known politicians around. I mean, in the area local to me, Jacob Rees-Mogg is the one who stands at the moment. My next door neighbour, literally my next door neighbour, used to be James Gray. And where that house, the road that the people in that house enter from, that road down there, that has someone who used to be connected with the Northern Ireland. I can't remember his name. And they basically have a police watch, police guard down there. And not only do they have a police guard, but there are cameras in the side of the road, as a friend found out one day. So let's go back in here. Too bright out there for me. I know I've got sunglasses on, but I didn't drop them down, did I? There you go, Sagi in action. I've got this brain, but I don't use it sometimes. This is going to be a long walk, isn't it? But some people did say they like the longer walks, so I tend to talk a lot. If you want, what I'm planning to do is I am planning to also upload some ones where I don't talk at all, so you can have a nice balance there. But I mean, only because I did record them for another channel, and I thought, well, you know what, people are starting to enjoy them here, so I may as well do them for here. So that's quite a few. Then I can use the other channel for something else. I mean, if you're interested with what's there already, it's called Woodland Temple. I haven't got enough to have my own URL yet, so, but you know, if you're subscribed to it, thank you. I try and put something on. I may just put some little tree ones on and stuff, you know, just make them slightly different, but I haven't really thought too much about it yet. Anyway, I'm wittering on. Now this is where the track comes down, and we avoided the track. That goes down, round the corner, and then meets up with the steps where we crossed it. So I'm gonna head up this way, because we haven't got far to go really, just down that little gorge there. So let's go for an explore, because that actually happened. I did that a lot quicker than I was expecting. So what I'll do is I'll find, oh look, the phallus tree. Tree of Philistine. Can you see them? At the bottom there. Just to illustrate my point about them deer, look at the buttress roots of this. I say buttress roots, I mean the buttress. Look, see they've had chomps out. That's not a machine. That will have been deer. And the reason I say it's not a machine is there's nothing in there that's been that new. See, that's fresh, or at least this year. And that's what they do. And eventually, if they go round the whole tree, then the tree will die, because it needs just a little layer underneath the bark to send all the nutrients up, and then it will survive. But if it hasn't got that, then it will die. Yeah, it's true. It's called the cambium. So that's why you can often see a tree with, you know, that much all leant over and still surviving. It's a kind of principle they use for hedge laying. Well, these are nice little tracks, aren't they? That one looks great. I'm torn. I've got a touch of the Natalie Imbruglias. I'm going to go this way and have a look. I'm going to look for a place to have a coffee. I'm going to look for a place to have a cup of coffee. Now, if you're not sure about a wood, it's a great idea to just check the floor. Keep an eye out for the brightness of shotgun cartridges. Red, orangey, brown and blue. I think you can get some green ones as well. They're not so easy to spot. The reason I just said that is because I just seen a building over there. And this is obviously cleared. And there's piles of stuff. But it's lost its beauty this way, so I'm going to turn around. Something finds it tasty. Okay, so I'm going to have a look down this one now. It's crazy. The sound of traffic and the sound of birds is funny as well. Did you hear that? Wow, that just made me breathless. Look at that. Wow. Anyone know what that is? That's a lime. It's not a small leaf lime, it's a large leaf lime, but look at that. Wow. That's funny, I had got quieter. Look at that. This is an old bit. Look how big this one is. That's also a lime. Oh my, wow, now that is really interesting. I don't know if you can feel this. You may be feeling it by my voice because I've gone quite up. But look at this. There's another one. But the energy here, it's so peaceful and calm. It's like all that traffic and the planes, they're over there, miles away. Wow. Just beautiful. Really lovely feel. It's a wren. Tried to shoot one in that other place. Look at that. Wow. This really feels like a privilege. This time I brought coffee. Three limes on a shirt. Sorry, couldn't resist. 3 limes on a wood. 3 limes in a wood. No, it doesn't work, does it? See how hard it is getting titles. Honestly, some things write themselves and other things just take ages. You'll probably find that yourselves. But I started to find, because I suddenly found one day that I could actually sing and write songs and play the guitar better than I ever thought, because of a little trick that my son told me to do. So thanks for that. And then I started writing songs and playing, and I found that during the recording process that things would happen that I didn't do and would be perfect, almost like they were writing themselves and recording themselves and I wasn't doing it. I'm searching for it because there's another lime over there. I've just seen it. No, what? See, it's really interesting that I could feel this from quite a way back, and it felt reverent. because it's not often you find them this big in, you know, in a wood that haven't been planted in a line. You find plenty of avenues. But I also noticed that same thing where right themselves, like making my videos, sometimes they just do it themselves and I don't even try. You know, because quite a lot of things that I do video wise, I don't try to do, they just happen. But I think that's because I'm in my flow. I'm actually doing something that I love. I love doing this. I love coming to the woods. I love showing it to the people who want to watch it, because there's nothing better than someone else who loves nature like I do, especially if you can't get out in it. I can't imagine what that feels like, and I hope I never do, because that's how that's how I view it. So the fact that you can even watch my videos is, I just find that incredible, because I don't know that I could. So if I can pass on whatever, you know, then thank you so much. I'm glad I can do that. I'm getting all a little bit emotional, because this is, you know, it is special. And so when I come out and I do this, things happen. I mean, they do anyway. They've always happened, even when I don't film them. And I have little magical things happening, like finding these limes is the magical bit. Even though we've had some other things that have been interesting and nice. But I do find that that's what happens. Some videos take hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And then others just flow so easily. It's incredible. Just like, you know, number ones take 5 minutes to write. You know, Paranoid took 5 minutes. She Loves You probably took 5 minutes. I mean, I'm using She Loves You, but I didn't even know if that's number one. But you know what I mean? It's like the thing you throw out really quickly, everyone goes, oh yeah, love it, love it, love it. Because there's something, that spark comes through. You know, that's why you have a block. So the creative process is like a real high and low, as anyone who creates will know. And even life is like that. Anyway, enough of me philosophizing. They're all limes too, and that's where I started feeling the peace. So this is a whole area of limes. Well, I better go and say hello to them all, haven't we? Wow. See, when they've got the space to grow, they can spread. There was a rowan tree actually, I forgot to, it was poking out above some of the higher foliage. Oh, and another little baby, a little baby. Baby, oh. Are they? No, that is. Oh yeah, it is. The whole area. It's all limes. Wow. And before we go back on ourselves, let's just take a little look along here. Oh, it's nice to have that many. About 10, isn't there? Oh, and there's another one. Oh, and another. No. Is it? No, that's a hazel. Wow. The whole area, no wonder I felt it. It's really interesting, the energy of different trees. Like really, really different. There was kind of a hushed, it's like a, oh, this is, you know, like you're walking into the library. So, yeah, there's limes, when they're sort of younger, or the leaves are hanging down, they look a bit like hazel leaves, a bit, until you get closer and you can see, because they've both got a point on. They're sort of rounded, oval with a point at the end. Oh, look. Do you know what? When I was looking at a map last night, I thought, well, maybe I could go along this bit. And I thought, no, it doesn't really lead anywhere. And you don't know, you don't know what's about there. But here we are. Here's one of them weeds that takes over. Snowberry. But there's a bit in the sunlight and along a flat bit, so I don't mind too much. Oh, euphorbia. All through there. And this is reminding me of other places. Oh, it's not beach. I thought it was beach. What is it? Oh, that is. Oh, look. Views through into the fields. Oh yeah, some of this is beach. There's some oaks, nice and young. Oh, that smell of autumn. Oh my god. Ah. Sorry that you can't smell it. So, as well as being your eyes, I shall be your nose. As well as being your eyes and your legs, I shall be your nose. This is why I get so wiped out after I've been for walks, because I want to go down every path. I know this is a bit sparse, but actually, if they were to... No, see, I think what's happened here is they let these grow too much before they thinned them out. And now we don't really have... They're not really... Oh, there's some growth on that one at the lower down. Well, maybe they will increase. Oh, there's the aerial. Where am I? Oh, right. So you will have seen that on another walk, that aerial mast. Aha. Oh, so that's where we are. Right, yeah, of course we are. Told you. It's really strange. If you have any strong kind of sagginess, then those kind of things but also I like to be lost where I am, because this is only a small country, and if you can forget where you are, it's a really good trick. Because, like, in America you've got vast areas of emptiness, vast areas of countryside. It's like Australia, I suppose. Vast areas. I mean, I know some of it's difficult to be in. Look at that knobbly knobbles. Right, let's just go to this ridge, shall we? Here we are, got to the ridge. You can see woods over there in the distance. Thought I'd stop at this large beach and then head back this way. Yeah, when I was deciding where to go last night, I did see there was a path. When we cross the ford, the footpath comes straight up. We haven't been to the ford yet, so don't worry. You will find it. But if you watch the other one, I can't remember what it's called, something like deformity, beauty and deformity, something like that. Where I crossed the ford early on in the video, I turned up the path right, but you could go left, and that would bring you somewhere here, but I'm not quite sure where, because my plan was kind of to do that, and then, but it involved having to walk along a road not as busy as the one you can hear, but another kind of, but one that's far more dodgy on account of its narrowness and the speed of the idiots that drive down it. Oh, okay, so maybe they will be alright then. Look at the side growth coming out. Maybe they will fill out, but I will be dead long before that's happened. So best not to think of it. Oh, lots of acorns. Lots of acorns, Tigger. Well, loads of them. Maybe that's what I'll do next Friday. I'm planning to go to another wood. And I must remember to take some collection bags with me. You see some euphorbia there, and further on in the back there. Its other name is spurge. Now the land dips another few times before those trees you can see on the other side there. I'll just zoom in, see if you can see them better. But yeah, where the field goes, there's some trees, and then the land drops away again into another coombe. But it's nice to have all these trees around. Hornbeam Beach, younger ones. But it felt so nice, so I had to come in and say hello. A lot of people have been saying to me this year, wow, it looks so lush and green. Well, it does, and it's great. But the reason it's looking like that is because last year, from about now, for 6 months, we had virtually non-stop rain. And then we had a few breaks of maybe a month, and then rain again, and then another month, and then rain again. And then in the summer it was warm and wet. And the reason that Britain is like it is because of exactly that. But I will say that this is the first year that we have had this much rain over an extended period. And for those of you that are interested, the 3 wettest years in the last 40 years were 2011, 2014 and 2019. Before that, it was quite a long way back. And this is from records in my village that someone I know keeps, and it's been keeping them regularly for that long. It's interesting, isn't it? All the wettest years have been in this century. And there's what happens around here now. Walls collapse. But I love a bank like that where you can sort of see roots See the glare that comes through. I've adjusted my camera, I can't stop it. I've made a whole load, I've tried all different ways and it's not stopping. It's so annoying, but that's one thing I wanted to say. I mean, that is basically, England is green and grey. Those are our colours. And you can see it here, look at these trees. Green and grey. And look at the sky through there, green and grey. Green and grey, the colour of Britain. And also a song by New Model Army, isn't it? And for those of you who like my musical references and enjoy having a check out, New Model Army. Not everyone's cup of tea. But I like Justin. There's something about him. Yeah, in a good way, of course. Now rain isn't forecast, but we're in a, like I said, we're in a period of it. Now here's something coincidental that I've also just realised. The last time I did a walk here, I was trying out my new wellies and they leaked in the ford. Well, today I'm also trying out new wellies. That's how long it's taken. So when was that? April, May, June, July, August. Nearly 5 months. I mean, I'm still using them because it's not that massive a leak, but it's annoying. But I thought I'd take my dry ones today because I knew that I was going to cross a ford. And here's where my gimbal would be happy. But I thought, well, if I'm going to have a bag full of a flask and that, and then I've got this selfie stick, I didn't want another pole, even though I need to check it out. One camera on one and one on the other. And that's a kind of beautiful sight to my eyes. Oh well, let's say hello. That's a wild raspberry. Because I came by, I thought, that's interesting. Is that an ash? And I went, oh no, that's not an ash. I thought, that's not a bramble. No, it's a wild raspberry. There's a side path, we'll have a little wander down. Don't think you can get too far along it, but no. There's a tree come down. Ooh, what's that? Something that looks a bit square. But I like that site up there. I think that's quintessentially English. That view. Ah, there are dragons in this bit. And that square thing, I thought, wasn't really. It was a bit of nature. Whatever that is. Well, I've literally just snapped some branches and gone on my bottom. So I've got a nice dirty hand now. I was just going to film this bark. But it's on one of those slopes that's really hard to stand on. What kind of tree is this? Is it an ash? It looks like it up there. What is it? Yeah. Yeah. It's just looking a bit... Oh yeah, I can see it now. Wow, that's quite a deep ridged bark, isn't it? Look, you can see that ash tree there. You can see the bark on that. That's a lot different to this one. This is rougher. Ah, young growth. Okay, well, first wet foot incident and I'm no leaks. Oh, bloody hell. Oops. Boggy time. Yeah, right, okay. Did you hear that? Oh yeah, that's what this bit is like, isn't it? This is all boggy. I did think to myself that these wellies are probably going to be fine because I don't like the colour. These will probably ironically last me years because I find them too light for me. They're not quite green enough. Look, that's not green enough for me. I want greener wellies. Can you feel death? Look at all these trees. They've all got dieback. This is going to be devastated. Oh well. This video is likely to be in 2 parts because I can't stop talking and walking. Well, I may as well, seeing as we're here and I've just said that. In 1987, Meadow Sweet. In 1987, there was a late night weather forecast that was infamous, or that is infamous, where he said, some people are saying there's going to be a hurricane coming, but don't worry, there's no chance of that. And overnight, more bog, and overnight, wow, this is like walking down a river. Shit. Overnight, a hurricane came. The town of Sevenoaks in Kent became No Oaks. One Tree Hill, near where I grew up, that became No Tree Hill. Lots of old trees in Savernake Forest, the forest near us, fell over. Lots of really big trees. The wood near my children's grandparents, completely devastated, not a tree standing. Literally, it took woodlands off the map, and that's partly why we've got woodlands full of tiny trees, because that night just devastated woodlands across the land. You know, that night you went for a walk in the woods and the next morning they were gone. Literally. gone overnight. One of the saddest things that I've experienced in terms of nature. The first one being the elms, of course. And I have started to film a video of that, so that is coming. Because people ask me, what do you mean about the elms and that? And like I say, they ask me, what do you mean about the elms? And I can't even point one out and say they look like this, because they aren't here anymore. They don't exist anymore. There isn't one. Here we are, going to head down to the ford now. I'm sure you've noticed that I do try and do whole videos, but I also sometimes do bits separate to the video, you know, because like when I'm out filming I get reminded of stuff, so there are often numerous videos in one. So what I try and do is do the ones separately and then put the whole lot together as one. And each one will have bits that the other ones don't, because that's how I do it. The long one will have everything in it and often be more personal. And that's a path to the stone bridge. And this is the path up to where I said going left at the ford. That goes up there, but I haven't been along it yet. And there's where we've just come down from. It looks nice, actually. It's hard to say which way's the nicest way, because you get a different view. Whichever direction you go in, you get a different view. Anyway, here we are at the ford. I'm getting a little bit nervous because I've got a water issue. And look at it. I will deal with that on another video. I know, it's not very deep or flowing that fast, but I've got an issue, so here we go. Oh yeah, that's it. I feel a bit better now. And through. Obviously in winter that could be quite a lot deeper. I mean, my problem is the slipping, because I have slipped many times on those kind of stones. There's some angelica there. Look at that. Now that place that you see before you, that is Berry Camp, and that is an old hill fort. I'm not sure of any more details than that, but I'm also guessing that the spring where they got their water from is the same springs that are in my village. It's lovely to see all that young hazel growth in there. almost like they're ready for when the ash die, and that will all spring up and become a hazel plantation. Okay, thanks for joining me. See you next time. Ta-ra.